Hello friends, I welcome you to EPG Pathshala. My name is Dr. Amit Katoch and I am working as Assistant Professor in University Institute of Hotel and Tourism Management of Punjab University. Dear students, I would be taking the module which has been titled as Cargo Import and Export Documentation under the paper Cargo Operations and Management. After the module, the students will be able to understand the common documents for import and export of cargo. Number 2, import documentation required for customs clearance in India. Number 3, export documentation required in India. Firstly, to begin with introduction, this world where we are living has become a global village in which the existence of one nation definitely depends on the economy of the other countries. The scope of market is so vast that every nation imports the commodities from other countries and in turn exports its own goods to other nations. The import and export of the goods is not so simple. Rather, it is a complex process and involves so many professionals in different careers to carry out the operations smoothly. Freight forwarders, importers, and exporters act as intermediaries to facilitate the business of international transactions. There are certain reasons for the international trade. One of the reasons for any company to import anything is unavailability of raw materials or goods in their own country. Secondly, it may be available in less cost outside the country, or that imported thing can highlight the status symbol. Documentation plays an important role in the supply chain management. This should be in consideration that different sets of documents are required for different products. Still, there are common documents which one should know for import as well as export. Different countries have their own procedures and processes for import clearance, but each product under import and export has unique code number which is accepted globally and is known as ITC number. In many cases, there may have bilateral agreement between different nations leads to exemptions on documentation clearance. Still, there are legal documents, specific and common documents which are required to complete customs procedures. Now, I will discuss about the common documents for import and export of cargo. The list of documents involved in import and export of the cargo is vast. For international trade, the documents are subdivided into different categories. These categories are transport, commercial, government, and financial documents with other related documents beside insurance certificates. In the process of exporting the cargo, it involves 4 types of contracts: the export sales contract, the contract of carriage, the contract of cargo insurance, and the contract of finance. Now I will discuss about broadly the documents for export and import fall in the various categories such as transport documents, commercial documents, government documents and financial documents. Transport documents. First is shipping order. Shipping order is a document which contains the details of the requirement of the shipper as well as the cargo. Shipping order is helpful for preparing lading, away bill, etc. It is prepared by the transport companies or the shipper. Dock receipt or maid receipt. Dock receipt, which is also known as maid receipt, is the document which basically confirms that the cargo has been received on warehouse pending shipment. The use of this document is for the preparation of bill of ladings. As far as financial settlement, dock receipt has no legal role in that. Dock receipt is prepared by shipping company. Shipping guarantee. Shipping guarantee document is a printed form. A shipping company or bank issues this form. The original transport document is replaced by this form, which is given by the importer. With the help of shipping guarantee, the consignee can take the delivery of goods in advance without producing the original bill of lading. If any fault is found in between the importer bank and the consignee, would be responsible for any loss. It is prepared by importer's bank or consignee or the shipping company. Packing note. The packing note, also known as packing list. This list bears the invoice detail, details of consignee, details of the buyer, the country of origin, the flight date, the airport for loading, the airport of discharge, the place of delivery, the container number, weight, volume of the product, and all information pertaining to the packing of merchandise. This list is prepared by the shipper. Bill of lad or bill of ladings. The document called bill of lading is a proof which states that there is a contract between the carrier and the shipper of the goods. The customer uses the bill of lading as a proof of ownership while taking the possession of the goods. There are two types of bill of ladings. One is known as a straight bill of lading, which is a non-negotiable bill, and the other is known as shipper's order bill, which is a negotiable bill. This can be sold, traded or bought while the consignment is still in transit. Not only this, it is used in many types of transactions related to finances. It is prepared by the shipping company. House bill of lading. In most of the cases, the bill of lading issued by the freight forwarder could not serve as the title document. This one can use house bill of lading in the place of bill of lading. House bill of lading is also used for purpose of letter of credit and the credit is opened. The main advantage of using house bill of lading: quicker transit, besides less packing, less chance of damage, lower insurance premiums and the lower rates than cargo as an individual consignment. House bill of lading is prepared by freight forwarder. Seaway bill. Seaway bill is a document which is a receipt and specifies the contract between the carrier and the shipper. This seaway bill is not a title document because it is non-negotiable. Seaway bill is prepared by the shipping company. Airway bill. An airway bill is that way bill which is used for the carriage of goods by airways. This way bill states that the condition of carriage and serves as a receipt of the consignment. This airway bill, like seaway bill, is not a title document, neither it is transferable, non-negotiable, it is prepared by the airline. House airway bill. The house airway bill is used to highlight the description and records of the cargo. It is issued by an air freight agent. It is not a title document. This house airway bill is prepared by forwarding agent. Now I will discuss about the commercial documents. Quotation. The quotation is the document which bears the details of price of the product, quality and quantity of the product, trade and delivery with payment terms. This quotation serves as an offer for the sale of the goods. This quotation is prepared by the exporter. Sales contract. The sales contract is a document which states an agreement between the seller and the buyer. This agreement states every detail of the transaction. It is always sagacious to take legal advice prior to sign an sales agreement, as sales contract is a legal document. The sales contract is prepared by exporter and importer both. Commercial invoice. Commercial invoice is a document which contains all the details of the goods and also highlights that the payment is as per the sales contract. The payment which is issued by the exporter for the consignment to the importer is highlighted in this commercial invoice. The importer most of the times use commercial invoice for customs clearance as well as for foreign exchange also. The commercial invoice is prepared by the exporter. Performa invoice. The performa invoice is used while applying for the import permit. The supplier issues this performa invoice before the shipment of the consignment. With the help of performa invoice, the buyer gets an idea about the quality and quantity of the goods, its other specifications like weight, size, etc. with its value. It is used while applying for import permit. It is prepared by the exporter. Inspection certificate. An independent surveyor or the exporter is responsible for the issuance of inspection certificate. The specifications of product, its quality, quantity and price are the main concerns for the generation of inspection certificate. This certificate is prepared by inspection company or exporter. Insurance policy. The details of insurance coverage are mentioned in the one document which is known as insurance policy. It also states that the insurance has been taken out on the consignment. It is prepared by the insurance agent. The packing list. The packing list contains all the information pertaining to packaging of the consignment. It is prepared by the exporter. Insurance certificate. The insurance certificate assures that the shipment is being insured. and will cover the loss or any damage to the consignment during the transit. It is also prepared by the insurance agent. Counselor invoice. Counselor invoice is required by the foreign countries which shows the information of consignor, consignee, etc. Consular invoice is certified in abroad by the official stationed in the foreign country. It is prepared by the exporter. Health certificate. Health certificate is issued in case of export of food products or agricultural produce. The certificate confirms that the consignment is as per the relevant legislation in country of export. It also satisfies that at the time of inspection the consignment was in good condition. It is prepared by inspection authority. Certificate of product testing. The product testing certificate gives assurance that the consignment or product has all necessary standards such as specifications, safety, quality, etc. This certificate is prepared by accredited laboratories. Phytosanitary certificate. In the transportation of plants or planting material, all importing countries require phytosanitary certificate which is issued by the exporting country. The certificate confirms that the plants or the planting material is not infected by any disease or pest. It also certifies the updated phytosanitary regulations of the importing country. The certificate is procured by the exporter. Fumigation certificate. The fumigation certificate certifies that the consignment is properly quarantined and totally pest controlled. For example, the US, Canada, Australia, UK and New Zealand require this certificate on solid wood packing material from Hong Kong and China. It is prepared by the inspection company. ATA Carnet. There are some goods which are transported for exhibition in trade fairs, specifically international, or some other such type of purpose. For those goods, one can get the free temporary admission with the help of ATA Carnet. It is applicable to those countries only which are the signatories of ATA Carnet Convention. It is prepared by the exporter. Now I will discuss about the government documents. Certificate of origin. Goods which are being exported are from which place? The answer is given by the certificate of origin. Also, it is helpful in meeting the requirements of the importing authorities. This certificate of origin is prepared by the Trade and Industry Department of Government. Export or import declaration. Export or import declaration document is a declaration made to the Director of Customs at entry or exit of any airport or port. This declaration contains full particulars of the shipment like destination, nature of consignment, etc. The main use of this document can be seen in compiling trade statistics. It is prepared by the exporter or the importer. Export or import license. This license is a permission in the form of a document which is issued by the department of the government that authorizes for import and export of the goods. It is prepared by the Trade and Industry Department as well as Customs and Excise Department of the government. International Import Certificate. If someone wants to import anything from abroad, then he has to procure the international import certificate from his own country. This certificate is the written permission from the government of home country to get the consignment from outside the country. International import certificate is prepared by the Trade and Industry Department. Delivery verification certificate. When the consignment reaches any designated country, then the certificate is being issued on the arrival of the consignment, which certifies that the consignment has been received in that country. This certificate is known as Delivery Verification Certificate. This certificate is also prepared by the Trade and Industry Department of the government. Landing certificate. After the arrival of the consignment, the destination country issues one more certificate known as landing certificate. While applying for landing certificate, bill of lading, import declaration receipt, airway bill and supplier's invoice. This is prepared by Census and Statistics Department of the government. Customs invoice. While importing any product from outside, the custom authorities of importing country issue a special document which contains cost of freight, selling price of document, insurance and all other value related thing etc. This special document is known as customs invoice. Now I would like to discuss the financial documents. Documentary credits. Documentary credit is prepared by the buyer and issued by the bank, which states that bank would pay on behalf of the buyer to the seller. This is issued by the bank only after certain requirements are satisfied by the buyer. It is prepared by the bank on the application by the importer. Standby credit. Standby credit helps the customer for cashing the checks. It is a sort of an agreement between the bank and the customer. Standby credit also acts as a credit between the importer and exporter, which guarantees that the exporter will pay the importer if the contract is not fulfilled. The other name of this is performance bond. The performance bond plays an important role and operations like fertilizers, crude oil, urea, etc. The standby credit is prepared by exporter or the issuing bank. Collection instruction. The exporter empowers its bank to collect the payment on his behalf. This is issued on an instruction known as collection instrument. Collection instrument is prepared by the exporter. Bill of exchange or draft. The draft is a written order that clarifies the importer to pay whenever the exporter asks for it. It is prepared by the exporter. Trust receipt. The bank helps the buyer by releasing the goods for processing by the buyer and repossess the same as it retains the title to the merchandise. The bank indulges itself in this process with the help of trust receipt. The trust receipt is prepared by the importer. Promissory note. The promissory note is a financial instrument. It is used as a negotiable evidence for the obligation of the foreign buyer. This promissory note is prepared by the importer. Now I will discuss about the import documentation required for customs clearance in India. In India, also the documents required under all products for import clearances are not the same. Still, there are some common documents which are required for customs clearance. Some of them are bill of entry. Bill of entry is procured by the importer. It is an important legal document. Bill of entry acts as an indicator of the outward payment of the country which is regulated. Bill of entry is one of the important legal documents to be filled by the importer. Basically, the bill of entry is one of the indicators of the total outward remittance of the country, which is controlled by the RBI and Custom Regulation Department. Commercial invoice. The commercial invoice needs to be produced by the importer at customs location, which contains the assessable value of the goods in it. Airway bill. For import customs clearance, airway bill is required. It is issued by the carrier. Import license. As the guidelines of import of specific product is being regulated from time to time, the import license is required for the customs clearance. Insurance certificate. The insurance certificate acts as the supporting document for declaration by the importer for delivery. This is also helpful for determining the amount of import duty. Purchase order. The letter of credit or purchase order specifies all the terms of sales contract. With the help of letter of credit, the customs department confirms the actual value of the goods in the consignment. Technical write-up. Technical write-up for specific goods, if any, is required for import clearance. For example, if someone wants to import any machinery from abroad, a written write-up or a literature needs to be attached explaining the utility and complete function of that machinery. Basically, this helps the person to get the exact price of imported machinery. Industrial license, if any. Under specific goods, only the industrial license is required to be submitted for custom clearance. Registration cum membership certificate. RCMC registration cum membership certificate is the way to get the exemption from import duty. Test report. In some cases, to check the quality of the imported goods, the custom official may send the sample of the goods for testing in the government laboratory. Central excise document. The document pertaining the benefit from the central excise under imported goods required for customs clearance. GATT declaration. GATT declaration by every importer is required. It is known as General Agreement on Trade and Tariffs. Now I will discuss about the export documentation required in India. In India, the documentation process in export is alike to other countries. Before sending the consignment, the person or the exporter has to get approved his sample from the international buyer. After all necessary negotiations and communication, the invoice is issued on the terms of payment and delivery. The export order followed by purchase order is received by one party from other. The payment is done with any of the modes, whether by advance payment, documents against payment DAP, documents against acceptance, or letter of credit, that is LC. Proper insurance covers the credit risk against the overseas buyer. ECGC is an authorized agency for insurance. After the quality check formality, the shipment got ready for export. The export invoice and packing list is prepared by the documentation department. Phytosanitary, fumigation, etc., if required, have to be completed before export of the goods. The airway bill or bill of lading is issued by the carrier. Now I would summarize the entire module. The supply chain management in export and import requires detailed documentation. The import goods or the imported goods needs to undergo with different customs clearance formalities, which include presentation of the bill of entry, etc. Similarly, for export to another country, the consignment needs to be scrutinized after several quality checks. The importer, exporter, carrier, freight forwarder, insurance agent and customs department, they all make the pool responsible for completion of the documentation process involved in supply chain management of import and export of the cargo. At the end, I would like to say is that documents control the cargo operations from origin to destination. But the most important thing is how the people approach document control, and hence emphasis has to be to make them electronic, shorter and simpler to ease the complicated procedures. Thank you and have a great future ahead.